Oh, what's up, Facebook? Look. We obviously planned, and we planned this week to get started at 10 o'clock. But we didn't, and we were going to shoot for 10:30, and we didn't. But we're going to try next week, right?
It's almost 11.
10 or 10:30, so it's about 10 till 11. But this is our first week of kind of
Being back on track.
Well, being back on track because we've had back-to-back episode weeks, and we haven't had that in the past. And then also, it's trying to stick to a definite start time. We've not really done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that because we're getting a lot of feedback from our listeners that they love it, but they would like at least a rough kind of start time. And we owe that to them.
Right. That's right.
Anyway.
It was my fault. I was prepared. I only known about 1 hour of sleep, 1.5, maybe 2 hours of sleep. You know.
So I'm gonna obviously check the sound coming through Facebook. Here, it's weird because we usually have kind of music playing in the background right now. It's kind of weird. It's silent. It's kind of odd. Right?
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to cut that off because
Facebook don't like it.
Exactly. They kick us out of there.
Music playing in the background right now.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Weird. It's silent. Here goes the loop.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to cut that off because
Facebook don't like it.
Exactly. They kick us out of there.
Playing in the background right now. Here goes the loop.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to cut that off because
Facebook don't like it.
I hate that loop.
So,
I hate it.
So,
as I was saying,
so the sound is good on Facebook. So we're going to drop the intro music for the Facebook people, and then we'll do the audio for the podcast. And I'm fading. Look, guys, I reset my mic today, and I may fade. So, Colin, you may have to correct me.
Me too.
So
me too.
I'm going to drop this. This is Scott.
This is Colin.
And we are
Two Rational Bastards.
Are we going to be able to hit it this time, Colin?
No, I won't.
Let's try.
Almost.
It's terrible. We suck.
We suck.
You know, the Facebook people have never heard the ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The second track. You guys that are on Facebook don't get to hear the beauty of the outro. I want to let you hear it. I'm feeling. This is what the people on the podcast hear at the end. See, that one makes more sense.
Yeah.
You know what I had thought about doing with this? I almost do a light, real light in the back.
Yeah.
You can hear it, right?
Yeah. Bam.
So you guys got to hear that. You don't really get to say, hey, what's up, Gary? Good to see you, brother. Gary Buckles is tuning in again. And hey,
Gary
sorry,
Buckles.
I'll address this when we drop the podcast portion so people kind of know what's going on. So, okay, Colin, 3, 2, let's say that. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of Two Rational Bastards, broadcasting live from Rose Garden Studios, just north of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Scott.
It's Colin.
Colin, what's up, brother?
Not much, man. Where you going?
Man,
what you got going on over there?
So let me say this because I don't want to lose track. So Gary, last week, when you were commenting through Facebook, for whatever reason, there were 2 or 3 people that we weren't seeing the comments, and we were seeing everybody else's. And then when we stopped the broadcast, I got all the notifications in. So I'm sorry I didn't respond to you live. I don't know what happened.
I know what happened. We have the weirdest glitches that happen. Like, we set everything up the same, and then just something random will happen. Like a camera won't work. We'll have to go to a backup. I mean, it's a wonder there hasn't been a show that had to be canceled because of it. But the dogs were in here, and one of them startled the other, and they knocked all that shit over. They knocked the camera over, the monitor, and then they started fighting in the other room. I was like, what the hell's going on? God. And then this dude right here, he's like, you sure you don't want to leave them in here? I'm like, man, you don't get them damn dogs out of here. I'm like, can't wait to break something. They'll sleep through the whole thing, I promise.
We always seem like we go back to
Coming to America.
Coming to America.
Yeah. Rocky Marciano. That they won. Yeah. That they won.
You didn't meet no Martin Luther King. Luther King.
You didn't meet no Martin Luther the King.
We always go back to that. Wow, it's so funny. But anyway, so yesterday was a big event, right? We kind of foreshadowed. You like that?
Yeah.
You like that? We kind of foreshadowed the eclipse. Well, this is the day after.
Foreshadow.
Yeah. That's what we do. So, where did you? Obviously, you probably saw it. Where were you?
I saw it.
Yeah. What'd you think about it?
I thought it was. You know, I want to be able to look at stuff with my naked eye, and you know, you couldn't.
Well, you could have, but you'd be blind today.
Yeah, you'd be. Yeah, I don't know. It was cool. Downtown, did you hear? There was, I mean, a lot of people, they saw it on the news. There was a big cloud that pretty much covered it.
Yeah,
about 65% of it.
I watched it on my deck. It was great, man.
But where I was, it was totally clear. You know what I'm saying? It was
totally eclipse.
Oh wow!
So they had her singing on a cruise ship that song.
Did they?
Bonnie Tyler, I think was her name.
Well, she finally got some help because you know what is his name?
Prince.
1999. Wow, how the hell did you?
I don't know.
Damn, you in my head? That was scary. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. That was scary. You were in there. I was just like, so the other day, the toilet paper on the shoe out and somebody stepped on it and got it off. How did you know I was going to say that?
I don't know.
That was spooky. I'm freaked out now. I feel like Scooby-Doo. I just want to run out of here. You know how they get startled and run out of the room? Oh, wow, that was weird. But, yeah, so she finally got her moment.
Her 1999. Well, and then, I mean, not to be dark, but when 9/11 happened, the only person that woke up happy was a boy that sang that America song. What's his name? The country singer. You know what I'm talking about? Lee Greenwood.
What was the song?
You know the damn. Somebody will tune in. Total eclipse. Yeah. Did you take the glasses off during the total eclipse? Somebody said that was safe to do. You didn't?
I glanced.
Yeah.
I just kind of glanced real quick.
I'm proud to be American. That's the song.
I'm proud to be American.
Yeah, that Lee Greenwood song. He was the only one happy the morning after 9/11 because he got his song.
Oh yeah. It took off.
Let's see. So did you take off during the total eclipse? That was safe to do. It was before and after that you needed the glasses. I did take them off. So it was really cool. You could
see like the little aura around it.
Yeah, it was really
pretty cool.
And then if you looked back, there was these things called shadow shakes or sun shakes or something like that. I can't remember. Somebody will probably tune in here.
Mm-hmm.
But it casted these weird, like wavy looking shadows on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It was very odd. And somebody you and I both know, Deb Moore, she took some pictures of moon shadows through a tree. It was really weird looking.
Yeah,
so,
it was almost eerie, like how it's sunny and then all of a sudden it starts to get darker and darker and darker. And
it was. It was really weird.
It was odd for me. It was cool, but like my daughter said,
shadow snakes is what Gary says.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Thank you. I couldn't think what it's called.
But like my daughter said, I thought it would be cooler.
I thought it was amazing. I mean, for me, what was funny is when the sun, like at about 12:50 or 1 o'clock, when the sun kind of started getting partially blocked, to me, what it felt like was, like if you've been in the pool all day and you've had your eyes open in chlorine, you get out, it's kind of hazy. Mm-hmm. That's what it kind of felt like to me. And then and it was weird because what I did, I videoed the eclipse and I took one of our studio cameras out and videoed our reaction to the eclipse. So I'm going to make a montage thing, but it was just, I don't know, it was just an odd kind of thing. And then you can hear and watch on the video the insects, how they changed because they thought it was dark.
like the logo. Like, shut up.
They're all kinds of confused. Anyway, so we typically start with a quote, and my quote it disappeared. Okay, here it is. So it's not really a quote. This is more of a kind of a thing to kind of prime your mind for, to life begins kind of now. So it starts, life begins now. And we talked about this a little bit last week, so I thought this was appropriate.
Right.
Again, this popped up a couple of days ago. Life begins now, right now, not tomorrow or the next day or the next. Every minute of every hour of every day, life begins anew. That means everything can change in an instant. It also means you can have a new beginning whenever you want. Why put off for one day that decision you've been pondering? Aren't you just putting life itself on hold? So, right? It all starts now. You got to start. So,
yeah, it's all in the moment.
It is, man. So, anyway, I know I didn't really prepare anything sports related, but football season's upon us. I'm really excited. I mean, we're a couple of weeks away from the kickoff of college and pro football. And of course, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I follow the Titans because we're here local, and they look like they're going to be solid this year. So, I mean, they're going to have a good receiver. They've got the good running backs, and Mariota got hurt toward the end of last year. So I think, barring that kind of a setback.
Is he playing?
He is playing.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm excited about the football season. For the last couple of years, I haven't really been into it. I think it's mostly because the Titans have sucked so bad. Mm-hmm. When we had McNair,
Eddie George,
you just never knew when we were going to win. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the year we did the Music City Miracle, the whole season was like that. Like we were out of it. We had to win all the last the last 6 or 7 games. We won them all. And then, we're going to get kicked out. And then we went to the we won that game, and then we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was my birthday. That was on my birthday. It was the last season that it was in January, and now it's in February. But it was so funny, man, because you just knew they were going to just eke it out somehow.
Yeah.
And it was like the look on everybody's face was like, they lost, they just couldn't believe it. But back then, the Titans found a way to win, and they won enough that you could be proud of them, kind of like how we are with the Predators right now.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to root for them, man. Like, they lose so much.
Well, like you said about they feel like, to me, that they're kind of on the uptick of, relevance again. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, for me back, when McNair, Eddie George, Blaine Bishop, all those guys were on the team, and Frank Wycheck, you felt that they could always pull out a win.
Right.
You just knew that they could always do it. And it hasn't felt that way for a while. But I think last year with DeMarco Murray coming on and Derrick Henry and Mariota, I think if he could have finished out the season, who knows? Because they played fairly well last year.
We were on the precipice of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
Yeah.
We needed that. So if we can get into playoffs, I don't care if we get kicked out the first.
But just to make it in.
Just get in.
Well, and
if it's a wild card.
Yeah, I agree. And they do have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, so that obviously helps. And when you got a strong running game, and then we've got a Dory Jackson, new wide receiver. I mean, so they've got some pieces to make it kind of happen. this year. So it's going to be exciting to see because they're going to always be televised. You know,
Right.
I don't always get to see the Cowboys, but I can
Right.
always see the Titans. So we'll see.
Irony there. My wild card today. You can't really consider this sports per se, but it's kind of blended in there. And 79 was the last time we had the eclipse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Total eclipse.
So I was just total eclipse. You just can't wait.
No. I was saying because
Right.
Here it was partial in Tennessee. I remember seeing it. I remember the box and all that, but it was a total, full eclipse in most of the countries.
Right. So in 1979, here's some of the things that were going on, Scott. U.S. and China began their diplomatic relationship. So we really didn't have anything going with them until 79. The 65th Rose Bowl, Southern California.
Yeah, U.S. seat.
Yeah, the third seed beat the fifth seed Michigan 17-10. The Village People, YMCA, went number one in the UK. It was just like people just like, YMCA, I don't want to work out.
We're going to ship that one overseas and see what
let's see what they're going to do with it. All right, so here's another synchronicity. The AFC Championship game. Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
So what's the Houston Oilers? They were formerly known. The Titans are formerly known as the Houston Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were beaten by Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the NFC Dallas Cowboys beat the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
What's the score there? Beats the Rams. Did not put it down. Yay! I didn't put it down. They beat them pretty bad, though. All right.
That was probably the most significant part of your story that you wanted to share.
Yeah, whatever. What up? Boom, people are looking it up now.
See, that's the thing. This proves to the people that we don't script our show.
So the Super Bowl,
and anybody can do this.
So Super Bowl 13. I'm just gonna talk over this bitch. Super Bowl 13.
You had to use a cuss word.
I'm gonna curse. I'm gonna curse on this one. Super Bowl 13. Pittsburgh Steelers, beat the Dallas Cowboys, 35-31.
Yeah,
it wasn't a blowout.
No,
they beat the ass. Okay, so Jimmy Carter, he declares on January the 14th that the birthday of Martin Luther King be
a national
holiday. That was January the 14th. And gas prices, guys, was 86 cents a gallon.
That's crazy.
86 cents a gallon. We was complaining about. I remember my mom. Oh Lord, it's 86 cents. What we gonna do? It used to be 50. We have the movie, The Muppets. Came out, moving right along. Every Which Way But Loose. Remember
was that Richard Pryor? No.
Every Which Way But Loose was
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood and the orangutan.
Yeah.
All right, and he would punch you out the window. Right turn, Clyde. That was like my favorite movie.
That's so funny.
79. Star Trek the movie. Deer Hunter. An interesting fact about Deer Hunter. He was ad-libbing in the mirror, where he was looking at.
Yeah.
Well, what? You talking to me?
Yeah.
You talking to me? That was the first time he did that. And that was one of his catchphrases all the way through his career. I mean, he's still acting today, still doing that bit. Right? The Deer Hunter.
Rocky. Yeah.
Rocky 2 came out. Aliens came out the same time. And Superman, the original, with Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, so those were a lot of you think
79 was like a popping.
That's crazy. So
I mean, there's a lot of other things that happened, but
wow. So and that brings something interesting up. A total eclipse. I mean, of course, the eclipses happen around the world at different times, but It's interesting to think that who knows what that may have caused. You know what I'm saying? But Aliens was one of the top grossing movies of all time back then. It has been eclipsed I did not really mean
Man,
to say
I'm
that. I
getting
did not
sick
mean
and
to say
tired
it.
of you saying that shit.
I really didn't mean to say that. I realized I was saying it as it was coming out. I tried to get it back. I couldn't. Okay, come back. But then Superman was, a top grossing movie.
Right.
Muppets was something kind of not really seen or done. I mean,
it was
really
weird
really
and quirky,
very
but those were the top movies.
Wow.
Top movies.
That's crazy. So let me see here. Let me see if I've got any comments here on Facebook real quick. And I'm fading because, like I said, I moved the mic, so I've got to get used to living in another spot.
I'm living in a new spot too.
Let's see here. No new comments. So I'm gonna do kind of a health segment here, Colin, and there's a little bit of instead of trying to put my thought, this report is good. So I'm going to read a lot of the highlights from this, and it really ties into some things we talk about anyway.
Right.
But this is just another supportive kind of report on ways to kind of manage your health. So, can one simple nutritional change make you more productive? Of course, we know that. That's kind of a rhetorical question, right? If you're used to the rush provided by the first cup of coffee in the morning, or you've come back from lunch feeling energized and refreshed, or you just can't focus on anything because your stomach is growling, it won't surprise you to learn that there's a link between productivity and nutrition. With unhealthy eaters, 66% more likely to report productivity loss. Of course, we know that. But again, this is a published report. What you eat, how, and when you eat it has an impact on how well you perform during the day, and your long-term habits will have a substantial impact on your health. The problem is, as we know, Colin, nutrition is complicated.
It is.
Due to constantly emerging changes in the field of nutrition science, it's hard to keep up with the most recent recommendations. Due to the complexities of our bodies, because we all have different makeups and chemistry, so I'm taking a side thing here. So we know that certain, you may need to take more grams of protein in than I do, whatever, vice versa. So everybody's body is different.
Right.
Taking that, so you got to tailor make this, but there's a kind of a good rule on a lot of this stuff. So say that again. Due to the complexity of our bodies, nutrition is inherently difficult to understand. You need to consider caloric intake. I was trying to say calories. Caloric intake. Macronutrients.
She's cute, man. Caloric is real cute. Hey, caloric.
It sounds like a medication, right? To lower your high blood pressure. Due to the complexity of our bodies, nutrition is inherently difficult to understand. You need to consider caloric intake, macronutritional balances.
Caloric again.
Macronutritional, what did I say?
Caloric again.
Good God.
Caloric.
Macronutritional balances like carbs, fats, and proteins, and micronutritional balances like vitamins and minerals. So that's important to understand the balance between those two.
Right.
So let's see. And the proposed solutions that offer simplified suggestions often turn into fad diets.
Right.
Which are almost always ineffective in improving health and managing weight long term. I mean, you think about Atkins, what is the beach one? The
South Beach.
I mean, there's so many of them. You may
Atkins. And can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Here's the issue. All right. I know it sounds like we are redundant, but it's subconscious bias. The body is going to reach homeostasis, or it's going to reach a balance on anything that you do. Period. And I know we've said this over and over and over again, but if it wasn't for grocery stores, we wouldn't be able to simulate one season. So if we had seasons that we had to rely on to, when this is in season, we can grow and we can eat this. And then when this is in season, we can grow and eat this. And boom, 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 and so on and so forth. Throughout the different times of the year, you would be able to eat different types of meats, different types of fruits and vegetables, different types of things that won't grow. So what's that? Nuts and seeds in different periods. So you would eat them in nuts and seeds here, and over here you would eat the actual sprouted whatever. So based on that, our bodies wouldn't really have the opportunity to experience the food over and over again to start having a defense for it. Because every fruit and vegetable has a defense. It's minute levels of toxicity and poison. So if it has some sort of insect that eats it all the time, it will start to repel that. Well, if you, a perfect example, if you eat too many carrots, what you'll experience is a pigment
skin color. Yeah,
it'll change the pigment of your skin unless you black as Wesley Snipes. You probably won't notice. You'd be like, I'm just gonna keep eating carrots. My skin's still good. You look at it, Wesley Snipes, man. You can't overeat carrots, man. But and the same thing with broccoli. It'll make you real gas. There's no coming back from that. But Wesley Snipes black. He's just so black. But
or Kunta Kinte,
The Kunta Kinte, you can't eat it either. But you're gonna eat different types of food throughout the year. So the reason things fad is because people will experience something long enough for it to be a season, and then they'll just, ooh, that works. No, you've got to switch it up every 6 to 8, maybe 12 weeks to continue to get your result. And even if you fall in love, like you get to your core diet. This is what I do with my clients. Once you get to your core thing, your core look, and I feel great, you still have to mix it up a little bit. Yeah. Like even with your veganism, like you mix it up a lot. You know what I mean? Like you do something here, then you do something a little different here. If you don't, you'll experience your body going into some sort of defense.
Well, it's like we talked about black seed oil on one of the shows, a couple of shows back.
Yeah.
And the amazing herbs, I think, is the one that we take. It's the most popular, the most potent anyway. They had been out of it at Vitamin Shop. I wanted to cycle off of it anyway because, again, it's good for you. You could take it all the time.
Right.
But to get the most benefit, cycle off, come back on. Exactly. Right. Just like with what you're saying. And so it'd been 3-4 weeks. And they finally got it back in stock. I started taking it a couple of days ago, and I noticed that.
Oh my God!
That hit again.
It hit me too, man. Like it's so funny how, like, I had to come off of it for a little while for the same reason, and finally came in on Amazon, and dude, I don't know, it hit me like I'd never taken it before because it had only been 2 weeks for me. I didn't want to come off of it yet, but. I only want to take a week off. It was 2, and I don't know that I'll skip 2 again. I might just take a week off.
I slept better last night. I had that, what we talked about, that, around 2 or 3 o'clock is kind of where the body kind of starts naturally kind of, because, whatever. I had kind of that uptick, almost like I took a B12 spray mist or something,
Well, like today, I'm only running on
1 hour.
Well, an hour and a half, maybe closer to 2.
Yeah.
But that's not a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
And I've had a session this morning, and I trained a little bit, and I'm okay right now. I'm not saying I won't crash, but I shouldn't be here doing anything at all right now.
Right.
So I feel really, really great. And this is the most important part of the day, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to make sure that I'm at my peak. And I feel good right now, and I know it's partially because of the black seed.
God, no doubt. Absolutely. So Gary said, I thought I had a knee problem until I lost 20 pounds. I mean, he's joking, but it's true.
Exactly.
I met a guy the other day I took him out to look at a house, and we were talking, found out we knew a lot of the same people. And anyway, he was originally from California. He lived in Canada, so there were connections from us living in California, my wife being from Toronto originally. Anyway, he said that, he had a lot of energy. I mean, he had a lot of energy. He was a pretty big dude, like 270 pounds, right?
Right.
And he said, man, I just recently lost. He said, I weighed 570 pounds. He said, over the last 2 years, I'm down to 270.
Right.
He said, but when I would go into the doctors, they wouldn't say that there was anything. They'd come back, and what they would say, don't be surprised if we come back and tell you that your cholesterol's high, you're, diabetic, all these kind of things. And he would say, don't be surprised if you come back and think that you took somebody else's blood, because I never have problems. We hadn't. So, but he decided, he's like, I'm tired of living this way. He said he didn't really feel like he felt any pain. Mm-hmm. But to tag on to what Gary said is he started losing all this weight, started noticing all these other benefits from losing the weight,
right?
Carrying lighter weight, the way he felt, energy, joints and stuff he thought just was normal. It's like, God, this is what normal is supposed to feel like, So,
man, I'm sorry.
Go. This is what we do. Go ahead.
I've got to say this. When a lot of times when you're overweight, you're thinking about the adipose fat, and that's the skin, the fat between the skin and the muscle. What you're dealing with a lot of times, like you'll have that big old power lifter or football player. Oh, it's hard. I mean, I know it's a keg, but look at that. It's hard under there. It's like, yes, that is between your skin and your muscle. But the reason why your gut is protruding is because of visceral fat. And visceral fat is important for your organs. to have that cushion around them so that every little jar, you know, if you didn't have a little bit of visceral fat, you can jump rope and get an internal bleed. But when visceral fat is excessive, it's poisonous. So your body's immune system has to constantly attack that. And your immune system, believe it or not, needs tons of minerals and tons of vitamins, tons of energy. So you're dumping tons of the things that you need for, I don't know, feeling good to fight. And it's constant, it's 24 hours a day. And you get used to feeling bad, and you know it's not a big deal. It's minute. Yeah. And you don't know how bad you felt until you get rid of it and you start to feel good. It's not just a weight thing. You could have been having the knee issue because you were depleting all of the minerals that you need for elasticity, for the recovery, and boom, 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 all the things. And now you've lost that, and now all of that attention could be put on the normacy of your body. And then, of course, if your body feels good, you're gonna have more endorphins and oxytocin to actually have the endorphins you need to just be like, hey, I'm feeling good today. I think I'll go for a run.
Well, not to mention, like we've talked about before, the impact inflammation has on your body. And the knee stuff could have been, okay, I don't know. I mean, he may change his diet. It may be, hey, okay, I started eating healthier, so the inflammation is decreased. That's obviously made the pain less in my knee, regardless of the weight loss part.
Well, right? What's the main part of your immune system? When your immune system is attacking or actually fighting for you, what is it doing? It's fighting with the body.
Yeah.
And that's causing the inflammation. Yeah. And that's that constant cycle. If it's a constant fight, it's constant inflammation. So you get rid of that visceral fat, that fight's over. That's before you even get to the fact that your minerals and all that's going toward energy and hormones and blah blah blah, all the things. Your body isn't inflamed.
Now those healthy cells are, you know, the soldiers and healthy cells are going out there looking, oh, that knee looks okay now. Let me go. Oh, wait, that's healthy. Oh, damn, let me make this an optimal environment. So new cells, when they're born, it's healthy and we're thriving.
And then dopamine, oxytocin, and all the other endorphins start to feed your brain, and you feel like you drank coffee every time you decide to do something.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. So here we go. That being said, there may be a simple nutritional trick to help you become more active at work, and it's all about your blood sugar levels. Everything in our body relies on energy to work, and that includes our brain, which for most people is the center of productivity. Well, I think that should say all people.
Right.
Most. I mean, what are you rolling around a brain? You know, that's silly. A well-fueled brain is an attentive, efficient, and hardy brain, one that can do more tasks per hour and feel less strain from the effort. Energy in our body is supplied via the bloodstream in the form of glucose, which is the stripped-down version of the energy we eat in food. Accordingly, when your blood sugar is high enough to supply plentiful energy, you're going to perform your best. It's really all you said in different words, right? This isn't mere speculation. Research shows that productivity peaks with about 25 grams of glucose in the bloodstream. Any less than that, and your effectiveness starts to taper off. So don't jump into work on an empty stomach.
Right.
To get to the level, you could eat a bowl of oatmeal or a donut. Both are capable of raising your blood sugar sufficiently. We've talked about this before, right? I think when Brandon was on. But here's where the difference in significance and why your intuitive guess that the oatmeal is a better choice is correct. Donuts are full of simple sugars, which are easily broken down and released by the body, while oatmeal is full of complex carbs, which take time to be broken down. So you get that sustained, you know, like you're on cruise control. Instead of, you press the pedal all the way down for a half a mile. The result is a sharp spike in blood sugar from the donut, which soon crashes and leaves your blood sugar as low as it was before. So you're being counterproductive. You're increasing your blood sugar for a short time, but then you're really depleted more so than you were before.
Right.
Oatmeal, on the other hand, results in gradual release, which keeps your blood sugar steady for several hours. So, and just a little bit more here on this. To try and simplify the complexities of nutrition, that means one of your greatest nutritional goals is blood sugar management. Your goal should be to keep your blood sugar at an optimal level as well as consistent throughout the course of your day by selecting foods that release glucose slowly rather than quickly, and then grazing through them throughout the day. The glycemic index is one that you can use. This is what they point to. We've talked about that. I think we've hit it on an episode in the past. It tells you how quickly and slowly food releases glucose in the bloodstream. Of course,
steam.
Yeah, or steam, because you need steam to make it through the day. Low GI foods, obviously, oatmeal, whole grain foods, vegetables, and things like that. Of course, high would be candies and stuff like that. It's important to remember that blood sugar isn't the only nutritional factor affecting your productivity, and it may not even be the biggest factor, especially when you factor in the effect of long-term habits. For example, certain micronutrients like omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E are shown to improve brain health over time.
Right.
And eating a healthy diet is going to improve your feeling well, make you more energetic and confident in your work. Last two things.
Okay.
Because I know you're going to tag on to this.
Nutrition
and productivity have a complicated relationship. We know that. So while no single change is likely to dramatically improve your productivity, the transition to a gradual low glycemic index diet throughout the workday can make you more alert, less distracted, and more productive overall. Keep low GI snacks, whole grains, things like that in your desk. Don't leave the house without eating breakfast. Try to stay away from sugary snacks or enormous lunches, which can cause your blood sugar to spike and or crash later.
All right. So here's the pro of that is if you're eating frequently. If you're eating frequently,
I knew you were going to do that, so I'm glad you did.
That's going to be perfect. But if you're not eating frequently, if you're doing intermittent fasting or you're doing a ketogenic diet like a strategy, I don't really like the word diet because if you eat
we're all
honey
on a diet.
bun,
that's a diet.
If you eat honey buns 3 times a day, that's your diet. So I don't understand. I'm on a diet. Shut the hell up. What are you talking about?
Your choices.
You are always going to be on a diet, fool. But anyway, I pity the fool is on a diet. The strategy here is that you're eating frequently. It takes 20 times the energy to break food down. So 20 times more energy than it takes to break the food down. That's why when you eat frequently, you lose weight. I'm not saying that's the most healthy way, but if you're going to do that type of diet, that strategy is what you want to add. Your enzymes are going to be different. Your acid in your stomach, it's going to be diluted. So you want to do things. You don't have to do it every morning, but I suggest you do some apple cider vinegar in the morning to increase the hydrochloric acid in your stomach for the day. Another thing is drink the 24 ounces of water, or at least 16 ounces of water. That hydration will give you a higher digestion ratio of hydrochloric acid, believe it or not. It helps you with your digestion in that way. Your enzymes are going to be higher because you're breaking down more food. But if you're doing an intermittent fast and you're eating most of your meals within a 10 to 8 to 6 hour period, and then you're fasting the rest of that time, or you're doing 1 or 2 24 hours a week, you do not want to take that strategy, because you're going to feel your glycogen stores weird, and then your enzymes won't be sufficient to break things down. So depending on what your strategy is, there's going to be here's the gray area. There's going to be a period where you're going to feel like shit, because there has to be a enzyme transfer, and your body's going to be like, oh, now we're eating this way. And then your liver has to have time, and your pancreas has to have time, and everything. You're going to go from, like ketogenic, you're going to go from eating glucose or utilizing glucose for the cell to utilizing ketones for the cell. It takes 2 or 3 weeks, guys. I mean, it's not overnight. Yeah. So you just want to be careful when you read stuff like this. It doesn't have to be, like, you don't have to look at it like it's a fad,
right?
But it's just a strategy,
right? And
treat it as such.
So, and here's the reason why I cover this. This is for the audience, is because a lot of times we talk about fasting in our particular type of diets and whatever we're suggesting to people. I think most people, I know this, aren't going to fast and do the things that we do. So this fits in with, it's kind of like most people, kind of like the Dave Ramsey thing about don't spend more than you make, that kind of thing. He has a cookie cutter thing for the masses, but if you go in,
because it's going to work for that few not few, but
for
the majority.
The majority. And then if you get one-on-one, he's going to tailor make something for your particular thing. So this is because most people, this is going to work for most people. Absolutely. And it's going to be the easiest thing for them to do. Now, if you want more details, like we did with Brandon, we can tailor make that for you. So
remember Body for Life back in the day?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's what really introduced or catapulted the whole frequent meal thing. And the way he broke it down, yeah, he put it out there like that was the holy grail and everybody should eat that way. But it changed a lot of people's lives. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it helped the most of the people, the majority of the people that looked at it. It's worth it.
It is. All right, let's see here, Colin. Let me see if I got any questions that come in. All right, get a lot of views and whatnot. No additional questions. We may have just bored people to death with that. But I mean, it's just because we hit that diet thing a lot. I know we don't like to use the word diet, but that our particular strategies, and I think it's hard for a lot of people to do.
It's abstract.
This is something that's more attainable for people and makes more sense. I wanted to cover it that way. So what do you want to cover next, Colin?
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and hit a supplement real quick.
Nice.
And the reason why this will get people talking, maybe. This is libido.
This will get people talking. Maybe.
I ain't nothing wrong with my libido. I'm good. I'm doing real good with mine. Every morning, man. Every morning.
But I wanna go ahead and touch on a sticky subject.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. A sticky topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about a lot. It's aging prematurely, and we're all going to age. We're all going to deteriorate at a certain rate, but we don't have to catapult ourselves into those years where we look like we're 90 and we're only 40 or 50.
Yeah.
All right. So the commonality of varicose veins, crow's feet, saggy boobs, and aneurysms. All right. Copper. I know, right? Saggy boobs. I said it.
Terrible.
I said it. Everything in your body that has anything to do with elasticity is copper. Elasticity. Elasticity.
You used to have the boobs on the mind.
I got boobs in there. It's like I see boobs.
Oh, shit.
I see boob people. Copper is
the show is off track. It's off the rails. Go ahead.
So copper is responsible for everything in your body that has anything to do with elasticity. Okay. So when you're thinking about a copper deficiency, I know when you research this, a lot of people think that it's over. Like a lot of people have too much copper in their system, but what it is copper is moderately low, but the ratio should be 10 to 1, 10, 9, 8 to 1 to copper. So you have your zinc should be boom, and your copper should be here. But copper, we're looking at 2 micrograms a day.
So you're talking about the ratio from zinc to copper. Copper should be okay.
Copper should be the 1, and then zinc should be.
Gotcha.
So what happens is if you're high in copper or too high, it's not that it's too high, it's that your zinc isn't high enough to complete the ratio. So I say that to say this: when you take zinc, you should take copper with it, and if you take copper, you should take zinc with it. What happens is people take zinc by itself, and then you get a toxic dose, and then copper, of course, it's easy to take a toxic dose because it's so minute the level that you need. So if you're low or you're not, your ratio's off, your crow's feet, your wrinkles in you have elastin and collagen and your melanin, all of that stuff is your copper, okay? Melanin is responsible for the color of your hair. So when you're deficient, one of the first signs that you'll see is gray hair, okay? Gray hair is a sign that you're deficient. Varicose veins is a sign that you're deficient. When your elasticity of your, think about a tire. You drive down a road. I've never seen it happen, but could you imagine being beside one of those 18-wheelers and that tire blows. Have you seen like it's just like it's all over the road? Like when it blows, you like, man, I wonder if anybody died, right? What happens is the wiring in the wall of the tire is diminished, and it'll push a little bubble out, like a little aneurysm of the tire, and then the pressure and the heat of the road and the weight of the vehicle finally blows that tire out. So that's the same thing that happens with a dry, no elasticity vein or capillary. What happens is, or aorta, they blows out because the normal blood pressure is going against a deficient, no copper, no elasticity vein, and it blows it out. Now, there's other things that could cause the aneurysm on the inside, but I'm talking about outside the wall. I'm not talking about the endothelial wall inside. I'm talking about the outside. Blows that out, and you're dead in an instant. So we're talking about 16-year-olds. We're talking to, that are just playing a normal sport. They're sweating and not putting those minerals back in, especially the ones I'm talking about right now. We're talking about, of course, people our age, and then, of course, seniors. You have people walking around with varicose veins and they pull them out. We should work on the deficiency, not the Band-Aid or the problem, and pull out the deficient vein. So crow's feet, of course, is going to be because of, your skin isn't getting the sufficient amount. And then the other crazy part, a lot of people just say, well, if I wore a bra, I would, wouldn't have. No, you would. It's not a weight thing. Yeah. It is a deficiency in the elasticity of the muscles. That's why little girls that when you go through puberty, and it doesn't matter how big they are, they have perky boobs. This is hard to talk about, but you know what I'm saying? It's not a bra thing. It's a deficiency thing, and it's easy to have a deficiency. Yeah. Think about it. You go through the time that you hit puberty to the time that you hit menopause. Every time you have a cycle, you are depleting your copper astronomically. Men, now talking about zinc. Zinc is every time you're stressed, that's working out stress, that's working on the job stress, that's argument with your friend, argument with your spouse, the dog bites you, or you're sick. Zinc is astronomically being depleted. Okay? So the main thing with stress is zinc. But the thing that's unique for men, another awkward topic, is our semen is 85% zinc. So if you're highly sexually active married men, and that was a joke. You want the cash in that? You want something? You got to go out and mow the lawn.
It depends on what married men you're talking to.
They ain't gonna be mad now. But if you are highly sexually active and you're very stressed out and you don't meditate and you don't do things like your conscious management, what you're doing is you're depleting.
That word.
You know what I'm saying? You're depleting your zinc astronomically, which is throwing off your copper, which is throwing off. It's anti-aging. You don't want to think about it, but it's not hocus pocus. It's focus. You're talking about, and yes, Stephanie. I stole that from you.
Yes, I was going to say, hey, wait, that was
I stole it from Stephanie. She's like, that's mine. I gave her credit. She called me.
Stephanie Jacobs, 12 Powers Yoga.
Yeah, there you go. But it's not hocus pocus, it's focus. If you're meditating, like we meditated right before we started, when you're priming and you're preparing yourself for things that are going to come up, and you have your personal development and you're taking it serious, you're not depleting your reserves as heavily. And if you know you're sexually active, you know you're stressed, you know blah blah blah, put the stuff back in. I take one of these a day, but if it's been a very stressful day, like today, I'm going to take two of these. I'm going to take one. You can't take them right on top of each other, but I took one earlier, and I'll take one later in the PM.
So does that have it's the proper ratio? Obviously,
it's the proper ratio. The cool thing about this one is it actually has a minute level of iodine coming by way of kelp.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Your thyroid T3 and T4 is iodine. 3 molecules of iodine, 4 molecules of iodine. So if you're having thyroid issues, that's not Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune.
Right.
This is a deficiency in iodine. And iodine and a lab like Luger's iodine, that's going to be a toxic level if you don't.
Wait, what did you say right before that? Iodine what? You said something. I didn't catch.
Luger's iodine.
Okay,
that you make in a lab.
Yeah.
It doesn't have all the other minerals, the antagonist minerals that it needs. Like this is the antagonist.
The micronutrients we talked about.
Exactly, like we talked about in the last episode. If you take something by itself, it needs a supporting cast. So this is naturally occurring in kelp, so it has all the micronutrients that you need to absorb it properly, and it's hard to get a toxic dose. Anyway, that's in there, and then you have the ratio that's actually higher than you need to be for the absorption of zinc and the copper. So that's that in a nutshell. You have your libido and your saggy tits all solved in one supplement. It's Solar. I don't know if you can see that, but it's Solar is the brand, and it's
a reputable. They've been around for a long time. They
and
make a lot of.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
I know it works. Not because I did research on other people that take it. I take it, and I'm telling you that it does for me. So you should try it too.
So let's see. I mean, and that you've talked about zinc and copper before, but very small. So I'm glad you spent more time on them in this episode.
Right.
I don't remember when that was. All the episodes run together for me at this point. Any case,
that's what I was saying. That I know it sounds like a broken record. But this stuff is important
for us. We talk about it, but the listeners don't hear that all the time. We don't record it, or
Well, think about a young person. If they hear it, they can utilize it early, and then an older person like us, we're in our 40s, we can start to get caught up on some of the things that we need, because if we're not recovering properly, we're increasing the plausibility of getting injured. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here, see if we've got any questions. No, got a lot of views and stuff. Oh, we forgot to ask people to share. If you want to share, do that.
Please
great.
Share, guys.
If not, no worries. We'd like for you to do. So I read to kind of segue to something kind of silly, one of these weird things that just catch my odd brain. I saw a vote or a survey that was completed. It said 1 in 3 married women say that their pet is a better listener than their husband. Well, what I say is you're just talking too damn much. That's why he's not listening to you. And I will also say your dog's really not paying attention to you either. He's waiting for food to fall out of your damn mouth. Shut the fuck up.
You're horrible.
All the women
and we lost all of our female. And speaking of polls, this other one popped across me. This was actually a CNN poll. I don't know who they've got. I mean, this could be. I mean, I see polls on Fox, CNN, MSNBC. There'll be some crazy ass stupid polls out there. This was a poll that was put out. Would you like to live on the moon? Well, after shocking results, we find out that 77% of the people said no, we would not like to live on the moon. So I'm not sure. I mean,
77. That should have been 100%.
23% of people said yeah, but I mean, is the poll guy there at CNN? I mean, is he just running out of shit to poll about? I mean, Imagine him getting home. What is his wife? Honey, what were you thinking with that? I just really thought I'd want to know if people would want to live on the moon.
How many people want to use headphones versus earbuds?
Completely stupid. So, anyway, what else you got, Colin?
Well, that's the thing, buddy. That is all.
Cool.
So I get to say this. I get to say something else redundant.
It's okay.
I'm going to watch the hell out of Conor McGregor try to fight and win this fight on August the 26th.
Yeah.
Dude, I am so excited to see that fight. I know it might be boring, but it might be one of those things where we're looking back at this and like, it could be one of the greatest things that we've seen in sports in years, or it could be the most boring thing.
Well, they're definitely hyping it up too. Yeah.
They're hyping it up, but sometimes you can believe the hype.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I don't have.
You gonna do it.
I don't have anywhere plan to watch it or anything like that. But if something pops up, I will. But I don't know. I mean, I care to see it, but then I kind of don't care. I mean, it's one of those things.
Okay, well, I want to say two things. Okay, Keith Mason.
Yep.
He's going to have the fight at his venue.
Venue 109.
Venue 109. I don't know all the details on that, but look him up. Venue 109. Keith
Facebook of Venue 109. We used to do the shows there.
We used to do the shows there.
It's out here in Rivergate, Madison area.
It's a beautiful location. It's a log cabin. They're doing some renovations on it. Looks amazing. All right. His birthday is the 25th. All right. So if you would, guys, go to his page and just say, "You old Uncle Tom." Just hit him up and tell him happy birthday. It's his 50th. All right. Okay. So
I can't believe he's turning 50.
He looks so young, right? So it's his 50th birthday. And I also want to say this, and this is just super duper random. All right. I met these two awesome people yesterday for the romantic people out there. Scott and Natalie. Scott and Natalie, if you're out there, is so awesome that you shared with me yesterday that they got engaged during the Eclipse. They got engaged. We announced it at Tin Roof, and they stayed with us all night. It was so cool, and they were the cutest couple. But they're engaged. He had a big old. I know she loves him because he had a big old dip in his mouth. He just head spinning again. I love my wife. Oh, she's gonna be my wife. I'm just like, not with that dip in your mouth. What the hell you doing, man? You chew some gum or something. But they're cute. They're the cutest people ever. Scott, Natalie.
That's awesome, man.
Congratulations.
Well, you'll have to, because I'll catch the highlights probably of the fight. You'll have to give a count, next show what it was like.
Oh, definitely. It'd be I'm hoping it won't be a boom, boom, boom.
It'll go to the distance, and of course, Floyd will win it, even if the scorecard says otherwise.
Right, right. There's been like 3 fights that he should have. It was close.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the Pacquiao fight. I mean, anybody that's really watches boxing, a lot of those rounds, I feel like that he won.
He won, and if he'd have had his shoulder, it would have. And he's not going to give him a rematch, obviously.
So I'm gonna. I had 2 more things. I'm going to save one of them for the next episode. It's a little heavier. I don't want to go be heavy today.
Be heavy.
Plus, we're cutting.
I lightened it up with the titties.
I know you did. We're cutting close on time. So this is. I guess you want to say it's a religion, and I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to read some of their tenets and beliefs and things like that, and I think people will kind of be surprised when they hear what it is. Okay, so these are 11 rules that this particular religion has. Some of them sound a little weird and hocus pocus, but most religions have these kind of things in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But listen to this. Number 1,
always doing some religious shit, man.
Well, I mean, because it's politics, religion. I mean, those things that really drive a lot of thought in society.
That's true. And
people know where I stand, at least in my beliefs.
Those 2 pretty much rule the world, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, what I like to do with this. Okay, people know I'm atheist, but with that, I'm still open to listening to other things and let things flow in and out, and understanding that I don't know. I just know that I base it off of scientific research and things that I can see and read and prove. Okay, doesn't mean I'm not meaning to say that a Jewish belief or anything like that I can't take and make it okay. This makes sense, right? So,
well, since you said that, let me go ahead and say I'm not atheist, but I'm not anything else either.
Right. Well, I use that term because that's the only thing people know how. Again, we've talked about labels, and I think I talked about that on the show. I don't like that people corner me that way.
Right.
But if you're going to try to define it and put a definition on what my belief is, that's the definition they're going to apply.
Right.
I don't accept the label because I want to be open, but I have to use that so people say, okay, where do I classify them? I'm giving you a classification.
Yeah.
Anyway. So the 11.
He got so assertive, man. I got so intimidated just now.
No.
Well, I'm gonna leave.
No, I'm just saying.
No. I mean, it's good. I know.
Yeah. So these are 11 rules of the earth, and I'm not going to say the religion. I'm going to say it after I read these 3 pieces. Okay. Number 1, do not give opinions or advice unless you are asked. That's pretty good, right? Number 2, do not tell your troubles to others unless you are sure they want to hear them. When in another's home, show him respect, or else do not go there.
Fair.
If a guest is in your home and annoys you, treat him cruelly and without mercy. That's a little crazy.
What?
But what they're saying, if they annoy you or they're doing things, whatever. Okay.
Assert your boundary?
Yeah, assert your right.
I don't even understand that.
Do not. I told you some of these are going to be like, okay, that's odd, but anyway.
That's probably Christianity.
Yeah, do not
get the hell out of there.
Okay, I'm going to find this interesting. Do not make sexual.
Stone them at the gate.
Yeah, right.
Especially if it's your son or your daughter. Stone them. Stone him.
Do not make
always pull me into some dumb.
Do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal.
Oh shit! Hootie hoo!
That's funny as shit.
Did she just hootie hoo? Hey, hey girl! Hootie
hoo! I said it! Hootie hoo! I said it!
Do not take that which does not belong to you unless it is a burden to the other person and he cries out to be relieved. I'm not exactly sure how you even classify that.
That's awkward.
This one's a bit weird. Acknowledge the power of magic if you have employed it successfully to attain your desires. If you deny the power of magic after having called upon it with success, you will lose all you have attained. Well, I mean, really, acknowledge that you could acknowledge the power of the Lord if you've employed, right? You can assert that. So acknowledge the power of energy, acknowledge the power of Buddha. Right?
I acknowledge the power of law.
Yeah.
In the Bible, if you replace the word law with most of the word, I'll say most, everywhere it says God, it actually still makes sense.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
The laws of the universe, of the 14 laws of the universe, or the 12 laws of the universe.
12 laws, yeah.
So, yeah.
Number 8.
I'm feeling you.
Number 8, do not complain. Use the bell finally. Number 8, do not complain about anything to which you need not subject yourself.
Nice. I like that one.
Number 9, do not harm little children.
Can we not harm the children?
God damn. I mean,
can we feed them? That's harm, to let them starve.
Because Sally Struthers will get on and cry about,
while eating a big sandwich.
Yeah.
cut it in fists.
A big Jimmy John's sandwich. Of course, the CEO of Jimmy John's is a trophy game hunter. He shoots.
Wow. Perfect. Perfect.
Do not kill non-human animals unless you are attacked or for your food.
Okay, non-human animals.
So what they're saying in their
Minotaur.
What they're saying.
don't kill the Sasquatch.
Oh shit! So what they're saying is that they're saying, of course, I mean it's true. We're human beings, we're animals, right? But they're really saying do not kill non-human animals unless you are attacked or for your food. Okay.
Oh,
when walking in open territory, bother no one. If someone bothers you, ask him to stop. If he does not stop, destroy him.
Wow. That's probably some more Christianity.
Okay, so you're going to be okay. So then they have 9 basic sins, and I'm not going to hit the details on all of these. And these are the sins that they say that you should avoid. Stupidity. It's too bad that stupidity isn't painful. Ignorance is one thing, but our society thrives on increasingly on stupidity.
Read that one again.
Stupidity. It's not too bad that stupidity isn't painful. Ignorance is one thing, but our society thrives on increasingly on stupidity.
It's very painful, actually. So
yeah, it depends on people going along with whatever they are told. The media promotes a cultivated stupidity as a posture that is not only acceptable but laudable. You must learn to see through the tricks and cannot afford to be stupid.
I just want to go ahead and say, stupidity is painful. It's just that we're addicted to pain.
Well, this is what's. It's too bad that stupidity isn't painful enough, is what they're saying.
Oh, painful enough.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I missed that word. Sorry. Okay, number 2, pretentiousness. We know what that is. I'm not even going there. Number 3, solipsism. So what this means is the belief of only one's own mind exists. Knowledge outside of your own mind is not sure.
So basically, narcissism.
Yes. So they're saying to kind of avoid
of
that.
Course,
yeah.
Of course.
Projecting reactions, responses, and sensibilities onto someone who is probably far less attuned than you are. It is a mistake of expecting people to give you the same consideration, courtesy, and respect that you naturally give them. They won't. Instead, you must strive to apply the dictum of do unto others as do unto you. It's worked for most of us and requires constant vigilance lest you slip into the comfortable illusion of everyone being like you.
Right.
As has been said, certain utopias would be ideal in a nation of philosophers, but unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, we are far from that point. So that's solipsism. Number 3. Go ahead.
Well, that's a synchronicity. I had a conversation with Christina, and she and I were talking about the fact that most people, me included, I mean, this is a fault of mine also. We get into that competition of comparing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here, like a term, sheeple. I'm gonna try to stop using that because, I mean, at some level, I'm a sheeple because I don't understand everything there is to know. I don't understand everything there is to know about fractal. I don't know everything there is to know about all the laws. I don't know everything there needs to know about politics. So when you're going in, or even religion, you know, I'm not a theologian, and even if I was, I would only have one viewpoint, and I would look at everything as a religion. So my goal, and I'm just saying for me, this is not a suggestion to you or to anyone else, but my goal is to practice the law of allowance. Just allow people to be wherever the fuck they are, and not even expect them or hope that they give me the same courtesy, but me just show grace.
Yeah.
And flow in and out of whatever's coming. Because what's happening is we try to make everything fit in our square, you know, every little round thing that comes down the pike fit in our square peg, and it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? It's mostly gray area. You know what I'm saying? It's not black and white. It's mostly gray. And we get stuck comparing our pedestal to someone else's valley, and they might be more equipped than we are because they're showing more grace and they're experiencing more of everything in a flow. So I just want to say that there. I mean, that right there is the biggest mistake I make is, oh, look at me. Look at my chest all puffed up.
So this brings up something
missing points.
I was going to share on another show, but okay, here's an example of this.
Me too. I wasn't going to do that.
Here's an example of this. And the thing is, Colin, this is one of those shows. We're over an hour now. We're going to try to keep it in an hour under, guys. That's what we've been hitting lately.
Right.
But this one's going to run a little bit longer. But here's an example. So I was at Costco this weekend.
Right.
Discrepancy. I'm sharing with you. I'm being transparent here.
I like it.
Costco this weekend. And while I'm walking up to the lane, you know, it's crazy ass busy there. If you've ever been to Sam's or Costco on the weekends, forget it. You're going to spend 4 days in the line. It's like at the damn DMV. You're going to spend forever. So I'm walking up, and there's this gentleman approaching me. And I'm walking there, and clearly 99% of the rest of the population will be able to clearly tell that I'm in line to get here. This guy's walking up, and I'm thinking,
I get passed every time I'm at Costco.
Yeah.
Like somebody passes me, and they look back and smile. I only got 2 things. I don't give a damn you got 2 things.
So interesting you say that. So he comes up. I have about 10, 12 things in my cart. He's got 3. And I always, if I see someone, hey, go ahead in front of me. So I'm waiting for him to make eye contact. Like, hey, you go for. He goes ahead and cuts in front of me, no eye contact. I'm like, you motherfucker. And but the result's the same. I was going to let him there.
Right.
But he did it with. So is that me being petty and ego? Right.
Yes.
So I had that conversation with myself. I said, how pitiful is that?
Right.
The result is the exact same.
Right.
He's where I would have led him anyway.
Right.
Why does that matter?
Why you got to be God? Why you got to have a God complex?
What I have to be acknowledged. Yes, I let you. And yes, say thank you. You better say thank you.
Exactly.
Just like when I'm driving, if I wave somebody, I want a hand.
Right.
Acknowledge me.
Right.
Why do I need that?
It's the expectation that's your discrepancy.
That's my discrepancy.
Now it would be great if you know, it'd be great if we can evolve to a point. I'm saying for me.
Yeah.
If I can evolve to a point that I could just be like, you know, whether it is or whether it isn't, I'm where I'm at. Nothing you do dictates where I'm going to be.
Right. Yes.
But I'm going to pick it up if it's something that's receptive, that I'm receptive to. But if it doesn't happen, I'm just like, oh, I'm good still. But we're still affected. But my goal is to at least notice and observe those moments and be like, hold myself accountable for being petty.
Being an active participant in the things that go on in your life. We've hit that before, but and I thought, this is how much I love you. So I'm there, and I think if my thoughts were in words right now, that Colin could read, he would be very disappointed in me in thinking
No.
this. Not.
I would notice.
Yeah,
I would notice, and I would hold you accountable.
You'd be like, Scott, what's up?
What's up, dog?
And I mean, it's just one of those things. And I was like, God. But the minute it happened, it seemed like that happened over a 5-minute period, but it immediately hit me. I was like, it doesn't matter. You're still going to let. Why do I need that acknowledgement from you?
Right,
It's
right.
Ego. That's petty.
It's that ego in that co-pilot spot, taking the wheel, and then you sitting back like, yeah, go ahead and take the wheel, because it feels so good to be in that mode, in that state.
Yeah,
it feels. Here's the sad part, and this is why it's so addictive. And I know this is going long, but
I don't
man,
care.
I'm so passionate about
this. It's our show.
Here's the thing:
go as long as we want.
You get as many, if not more, endorphins from being egoic and petty than you do when you are actually being compassionate and cheerful. Like I was priming, and I dance. And when I prime, guys, I know it's odd, but I'll dance a certain part. Like Scott will always come up, and I'm in the bathroom dancing. He said, "What the hell are you doing in there? Dropping a big old douche."
Yeah.
I'm just like, maybe, but leave me alone. I'm like, oh, I'm insecure about it.
Like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. But I'll dance. I've added petting a dog. I mean, we've got 2 dogs here. It was so like awesome. And then I'll watch something funny. We watched a girl get
the ice
bucket challenge. They splashed her hair off or her wig off, and then he hit her again with another bucket of water. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. So I didn't have to watch my go-to, which is Cat Williams.
Cat Williams. Yeah.
You know, who goddamn white baby?
Who goddamn hey, my white baby.
That baby is light-skinned, but not light-skinned.
Oh my God! He had a credit score 820 when he was born.
He said he looks like you done brought a full-grown man in here. Those glasses are certainly grown. I ain't never seen no baby with that type of prescription. Is that Dr. Joshua? But anyway, I watch that every time. It makes me laugh, and it's a perfect prime for me.
Yeah, smoking a cigarette.
It is so addictive, and so many endorphins are dumped into your body being petty like that. That's why it's so easy. That's why you see people, every time you see them, they're complaining and whining and crying, because it feels good to them to be that way. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So I would love it if I can at least get to the point that I could observe those moments that I'm in it, and then I could also identify those people that are going to be that way regardless. Mm-hmm. There's nothing. If you'd have done this, I would have been able to. No, there was nothing you could do. You were going to complain anyway. That's what you wanted. Try my best is what I'm going to do to be able to at least hold myself accountable, or, at least be able to be like, okay, yay. They didn't throw their fucking hand up.
I felt so guilty about it. I wanted to apologize to him. He had no idea.
Oh.
He was oblivious. So then I even took it a step further, which was even more awkward. We go to the door. They have to do your receipt to show that you got your stuff. We're walking up, and I'm a little bit. He had stopped. I got a little bit ahead, and I'm slowing traffic down because I still don't want to cut in front of him.
Right.
Because I feel guilty about my thought. And he's like, "Go ahead." It's like, "No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead." It's really damn.
That's awesome.
God. So anyway. So back to this list. That's great. I'm glad this brought out. Did I do number 4, self-deceit? So we'll move past that one. Number 5, herd conformity. But only fools follow along with the herd. Letting an impersonal entity dictate to you the key to choosing a master or what you believe in wisely, instead of being enslaved by the whims of the many. So don't have a herd mentality. Number 6, lack of perspective. Never lose sight of who and what you are, and what a threat you can be by your very existence. Number 7, forgetfulness of path orthodoxy. So, of course, orthodox is conforming to a faith. So
right.
Okay. Number 8, counterproductive pride.
Nice. We just spoke on it.
The first word is important. Pride is great up to the point you begin to throw out the baby with the bathwater. The rule of this religion is, if it works for you, great. When it stops working for you, when you've painted yourself into a quarter, and the only way out is to say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I wish we could compromise somehow," then just do it.
Boom.
Okay?
Just do it.
Number 9, lack of aesthetics. And this is what it says, there are universally pleasing and harmonious configurations that should not be denied. So the beauty of a mountain, the beauty of flowers and things like that, just don't, discount those. Okay. moving on to the last portion of this. And this is this particular religion's view on politics. What constitutes this religion's stance on any number of political issues is a topic often broached by students working on papers, journalists, or varying stripes of intelligence, and other assorted researchers, trolls, or people with whom form an axe to grind. Here's what we consider to be the briefest answer. As has been said many times before, one's politics are up to each individual member, and most of our members are political pragmatics. They support political candidates and movements whose goals reflect their own practical needs and desires. Our members span an amazing political spectrum, which includes, but is not limited to, libertarians, liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, Reform Party members, independents, capitalists, socialists, communists, and so on and so forth. You could possibly imagine it's up to each member to apply this religion to determine what politics means will reach his or her ends, and that are each solely responsible for his decision. Freedom and responsibility must be a novel concept for those who are not of this particular religion. We take it in stride. Members whom deem conformity from other members to their particular political fetish are welcome to depart. To elaborate for those of some political idea which they wish for this religion to tout, our church does not have an official political position. Note that individual members frequently do have political positions. If our view is to wish to make their own political viewpoints known, then they present their concepts and prepare to back them up with references and reasons, not just thought. If our members decide to debate or dispute each other's positions, we caution them to take the time and do so in a respectful manner. Remember, our primary house rule is to be kind to one another. The church is not going to demand that members conform to any particular political viewpoint, nor should our members expect the church to assist them in forcing others to assent to their own positions. So it is always wise to keep in mind that what we've said above, the church is a loosely knit cable of individuals with political opinions that do and may vary.
Right, of course.
It is our belief the deep structure of practical ideas, and most of us find that the mantra, the political action is required to justify your existence, is just nonsense. The entire point of our religion is that...
I'm sorry, repeat that last little sentence right there.
Yeah, so it is our deep structure of practical realization and ideas of most of us find the mantra that political action is required to justify your existence is just nonsense.
Nice.
Political action is required to justify your existence. They say it's nonsense.
Yeah, I like
it. Let's see here.
Sorry, I messed up your cadence.
No, it's okay. That's okay. And on to the next. It was kind of saying the same thing. The religion itself is not a cause, rather it is a tool for advancing ourselves and those people and things which we deem to be of merit. Hence, our church first endorses autonomy for the individual as a primary, allowing the individual then to decide for himself what political viewpoints are most agreeable to him. If an individual decides that he attains pleasure through participation in political advocacy movements and organizations, he should realize that it is his own pleasure to participate, and we support that. But it's not necessarily a political agenda that he's working to achieve. Last word. The church will not fade because we do not need to win any external approval to exist. We are an organization only that needs to continue, as we have for 5 decades, to offer the tools through which our members may see through the conceptual traps that enslave the masses.
I like it.
This person that said this is Peter Gilmore. Peter Gilmore, and these beliefs are from the Church of Satan. So there's been a huge misconception on.
I was gonna say one of those sounded like a satanic type of thing, but I was just like.
So obviously the thought of they're killing people, draining their blood, drinking blood, and sacrificing. All the evidence that I've seen and the research outside of the Church of Satan website and all that, some of the things are kind of crazy, but it's kind of common sense, basically do the right thing kind of is really good.
Right.
So maybe that shed some light on what people maybe thought.
Well, okay. So here's here's my take. I'm not going to say on that, but here's my take on a perspective. It's yin and yang, light and dark, up and down, left and right. If you focus on the light or you focus on the dark, they look like the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a label mostly. So I say that to say this, man, and I'm done with anything that I have to say, unless you say something that triggers something. But every emotion, whether you be sad, mad, what's one we used earlier? Pride,
yeah.
Embarrassed, all of those, every emotion is there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not to sit there and dwell in it and wallow around in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's to make you pay attention to that thing. Like, if I want to be embarrassed if my dick's out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see it. It's
Those are necessary.
For a reason.
Yeah.
You know, if I do something that's makes me ashamed, I'm ashamed because it's in conflict with my truth.
Yeah.
So I need to pay attention to that and not do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody's trying to shame you or somebody's trying to blame you and all this, that might not be a necessary thing. But if you feel it yourself, it's a usable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Take evaluation and then make the adjustment, or don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the thing is, every emotion, if it's there, if it exists, it's there for a reason.
It's supposed to be there.
So if you make a religion around that and call it whatever
you want to call it,
it makes sense. It's just common sense. It's just rationale. But if it exists, it's usable and it's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to sit there and complain and whine and cry? Or are you going to make an adjustment and practice your results?
Yeah, it's
up to you.
How you recognize it, how you navigate it, and navigate around that. So I just thought it was interesting because I think, growing up, Baptist, Southern Baptist, and all that kind of stuff, I would have never, being 9, 10, 11, 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
Searched if, the internet was what it is now, if it was there,
Mm-hmm.
then saying, I'm like, oh God, something's gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But of course, as I got older and started, looking at evidence and things like
we're
that.
We're going to lose every fan we got. All right.
Who said we had fans?
We don't have any. Is that cricket? Those locusts that were chirping during the eclipse. All right. I'm going to say this. The thing that annoyed me about religion is this. All right. Sin means to miss the point. If you just said that to me as a kid, I would have had a lot more to work with.
Yeah.
But if I have this standard that I have to live up to, and I'm feeling shame and blame about everything that I do wrong, and I put that in quotations, I'm going to spend my life in a state that I can't use.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in fight or flight most of my life, I'm using the smallest part of my brain. I'm using my amygdala. I'm using my reptilian brain. I'm not using my hypothalamus. I'm constantly thinking that I'm doing something wrong. Well, that's a sin. How do you know that's a sin?
Mm-hmm.
My point to miss is me to observe and to evaluate and then grow past. We talked about that earlier. If I'm comparing myself to Buddha, everything's a sin. If I'm comparing myself to Jesus, everything's a sin. I'm nowhere near where that person is. Dalai Lama. But if I'm working with Colin and I'm evolving, and then my truth is evolving, and I'm holding myself accountable, and I'm moving forward progressively for me specifically, my own personal development, my sins are going to be according to where I'm at in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, Mom, I'm 12.
Yeah.
Of course I'm jacking off in here. Don't come in and embarrass me. It's okay. It's mine. I'm out. Why are you making me feel embarrassed about it, man? Come on.
So it's true. I mean, and that goes, what was the one, number 6, lack of perspective, right? And don't have. These are the 9 satanic sins, is what they say. Satanic sounds so evil and dark, right? And the one before, and the funny thing is, when you do more research, the guy that started it in 1960, whatever, they don't even believe in the devil. It's not worshiping the devil.
It's more of a darkness or the yang.
It's so fun. So, and then the first one, the 11, do not harm little children, do not give opinions. That's the 11 satanic rules of the earth. The 9 satanic sins. I mean, it sounds evil because that's what we've been programmed to think. Satanic is evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever. It's however you take it. But
right.
In reading that, had I not said that, what would you have applied it to? You may have said that's Christianity. Right. How many times did you say that?
Right.
People. If we could have done a poll and had people said, "What religion do you think that is?" Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, nobody would have said Satanism.
Well, Sigmund and Freud. He was the one, like in cartoon. I know, right? We're fucking everything up. Cartoons back in the day, like Looney Tunes,
like Siegfried and Roy.
They would have shut the fuck up. They would have an angel on one side that would represent your spirit or your consciousness, your conscious, and then you have the devil would be considered your ego. So that's pretty much what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. Your ego is more of a I am identified with everything. It's like really opinionated and takes everything personal. That's where you get those emotions. That's where you get that trigger. It's just not a place to live.
Yeah.
It's just a trigger. Ooh, that jarred you. That was something that affected you. He didn't acknowledge me when he passed me.
Yeah.
Why didn't he look at me?
Yeah.
And then it's an opportunity for you to take an evaluation of the discrepancy and either grow or stay the same or get worse. It's not anything evil. It's just an opportunity to do something.
And see, that's where I think religion, one of the things
they focus
it's a fault of that, and they make
the devil made me do it. No, it's a part of your compass.
It's part of your compass. That's a great way to say it. I mean, instead of making yourself feel guilty, and you have all these psychological problems, take medication for it, you think, God, I'm crazy. Something's wrong with me because the Bible and Christianity and all this stuff is telling me that I'm crazy for having these thoughts.
But feel the guilt, right?
Yeah.
Feel the guilt and be like, whoa, wait a minute. Don't take that personal. 4 agreements. Don't take that personal, Colin. Don't take that personal, Scott. Let's take a look at this. Let's dissect this.
This is a chance for you to grow.
But instead, we push it deep down in our subconscious theta, and we bury it, and then we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lifetime to a therapist that knows all these tricks, and just like, oh, I'm glad he fell for that. I'm trying to get paid.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you, after I went through that evolution with the Costco guy, I felt better,
of course,
having dealt and understood that and recognized and dealt with it than if he had just acknowledged me and gotten in line.
Exactly. You wouldn't have had that.
It wasn't a chance to grow in that space, right? And I found, I mean, that happens quite a bit, and it's something that I work on. It's like, that motherfucker didn't even wave. I let him in front of me. Why didn't he wave? Hey, thanks.
I dream a genie.
Oh yeah.
If you had a genie, or I dream a genie, or if you had this genie that lived with you and she could solve every one of your problems, where would you have the opportunity to learn from the lesson? Remember when we said this before? The math problems are why you learn the equation. How are you going to learn the equation if you had a genie to take away the problem every time? Yeah. It's almost like using a calculator and you don't really understand what you're doing. You're not putting your work down. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Unless you're like my son, he look at a math problem and be like, "Oh, that's 75. That's 75.5 squared and pied." What? But you have to experience the problem to have the opportunity to apply your resolve to reach your ultimate truth.
Yeah, for sure.
And understand.
A couple of these questions had come in. Courtney Epperson says, "How do you spell?" And this was way early on. I'm sorry I didn't see this. How do you spell the name of the pill? I'm not sure.
The name of the pill?
We talked about black seed oil again, zinc and copper. I'm not sure if we may have mentioned something else. I'm sorry, Courtney. I don't recall what you talked about.
Name of the pill? Black seed oil, and you mentioned that for a second.
Yeah, black seed. A lot of people thought when we talked about it, we were talking about flax seed. Black, BLACK, the color black seed oil comes from cumin.
What else did we say?
I can't think. And then Gary says, yes, as you get older, getting used to feeling bad, people think that it's normal.
Exactly.
It was so true. Then he said that he did Body for Life and loved it. And, people.
Body for Life was awesome.
It was effective.
Bill Phillips.
Yeah, it was effective for a lot of people. So next week, we'll try to get started 10 or 10:30.
We'll try.
Somewhere around there. Try not to get too close to 11. That way you kind of know when you can tune in and see.
But it won't be any later than 11.
No, it won't be. Yeah, it won't be between 10 and 11 is when we're going to try to hit. Try to hit 10 more often. Again, we never decide unless we have a guest coming up what the next week's going to be, and that's the case here. It's just whatever strikes us this week. Like I said, I've got one other thing I'm going to share next week. I don't want to get into that today, but anyway, Colin, you have any last words? Or did you kind of just say it? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, man. I just want to elaborate on it more. Allow yourself to judge yourself. You know what I mean? It's you are yours. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Your ego having that trigger moment, it happens so that you can observe it. And this is just my own personal thing. When you're conscious, think about it as having your eyes open. So if you can kind of see outside yourself when you're being egoic and take that moment to observe that is an opportunity to observe that portion of yourself that's having a discrepancy, or there's the glitch in the matrix. It's like, oh, there's a glitch. Am I going to do anything about that? No, I'm not prepared to do anything about that. Or I'm prepared to do something about that. Or, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this moment, and I'm going into that moment, and I'm going to be a little bitch, and I'm going to cuss and spit and cry and whine in this moment. But at least, no matter what it was, the 1, 2, or 3, you observed it first, and you were present instead of being hypnotized into the feeling of it feels good. It feels good to feel bad, and it feels good to feel good. So if you're just experiencing life on default, you are on a crash course to narcissism. An old dog. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, because what else do they fucking know?
Yeah.
They haven't observed themselves, hold themselves accountable one time. So you're eventually going to evolve into this old dog, and you're going to die pretty much in the same moment.
Yeah.
Because what's the narcissist going to do, Scott? They're going to play a role over and over and over again, and they're going to hold you accountable for not living up to their standards.
Right.
Stupid.
Well, and then what is your standards is not somebody else's standards, which is completely
exactly.
stupid.
It's unfair.
It is unfair.
It's unfair for you to be a narcissist and expect other people to live in that world. I am not an extra. I'm not a prop in your world.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. This is.
Oh
this
my God,
is,
we cursed a lot.
This is.
We cursed a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, until next column, we went an hour 27. It's okay.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be. Well, or better. What are you talking about?
Shut
It could
up.
be worse.
Shut up.
But until next week, I'm Scott.
It's Colin.
Oh. All right. Yeah, an hour 27. Of course, Facebook people got a little bit longer because we do the pre-show checks. So, Facebook peeps, again, thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Next week, again, like we said, around the same time. I didn't see Wade this time. Maybe he came in and I've not seen the comments until next time. If so, Wade, apologies, brother. What else? I think that's it, man.
Hey, man, and those of you that share us, thank you so much. It really helps us on our views, and it helps us bump up the amount of people that get to see us. A lot of people just don't know about us because we don't have the push.
Yeah.
But the more of you share, Facebook, they'll give us more of a push, and they'll randomly put us out there more.
They give us rank juice and
rank juice.
Yeah.
I like that.
So
rank
and
juice.
we also obviously we would like to eventually monetize the show out, right, to where we can deliver more episodes a week.
I would like to do this. I would like to do this daily. So but not monetize like we get bank, but just monetize to where we can. This costs money.
This costs money to upgrade equipment, get more cameras, to make it more of a better experience for the viewers. So
exactly,
and to have possibly somebody in that can answer questions and stuff, so we can really focus on the show.
Right.
So because I get distracted, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I've cut them down a lot.
Right.
You know, with how we've segmented the show. But anyway,
I like it.
Yeah. So anyway, Facebook, thank you so very much. We'll see you next week.
Oh, boom, boom. I'm looking at the monitor down here with the camera. Hey.